Yes, Professor Nalapat, I'm going to request you to stay on with us because we have another soundbite from the same press conference where Jagmeet Singh was actually asked about journalists how or what is his proposal to the Canadian government as to how they should go about these sanctions that he continues to demand against India. Let's quickly listen into how Jagmeet Singh dealt with that question.
I just want to say, Mr. Singh, forward. I want to ask about the sanctions that you want to put forward. How do you balance that against Canada's economic interests and suggesting severe sanctions when that would have potentially devastating effects in Canada's economy?
I thank you for the opportunity to clarify. I mentioned very severe sanctions on Indian diplomats.
Policy.
So given the fact, let's just take a moment. We got the RCMP that said that Indian diplomats were hiring criminal elements to shoot at Canadians. I can't see why we would do anything other than put in place severe sanctions on those diplomats, on Indian diplomats. The Modi government has to be held to account. And we all need to be unified as Canadian leaders. All of us have to be united in denouncing Modi and making sure we protect Canadians and put their safety first and foremost. Thank you so much.
I'm saying whether or not you have personal
What do you
I'm
make
not
of
saying that you're leaving open that assumption.
We're going to let her... He's gone.
Once again, a very vague answer, and he's just walked out of that press conference. Professor Nalapat, Jagmeet Singh there saying that we want sanctions against Indian diplomats and that Modi must be held accountable. Look at the narrative spinning that he's attempting in Canada, but their reporters are also mocking him at this point in time. They're literally laughing at him as he leaves the room, saying that, listen, do you not understand how things work internationally?
Well, Devika, I advise you to look at U.S. military websites, for example, some of them, and they point out how in the RCMP itself, you have significant influence of China, very significant. You have significant influence of extremism inside the RCMP itself. And these are serious American military and security websites that have recently been taking a very close look at Canada, much to the discomfiture of the Trudeau government and people like that. Jagmeet Singh is obviously, withdrawn support to blackmail Justin Trudeau, extort from Justin Trudeau, more anti-India rhetoric. And Justin Trudeau, poor fellow, he's, obeying him and he's screaming his head out about India to get the Jagmeet Singh back. And as I said, the fact of the matter is that this is nonsense. And if you sanction, yes, the reporters are perfectly right. And I'm really glad to see that the journalistic profession is finally standing tall in Canada, looking at these people in the eye and basically knowing where they come from. And I think that's very welcome, because the fact of the matter is what this man is trying to do is basically turn the focus away from the real threat to Canadian security. It's not just China. It's the narcotics which is being pumped in with the help of China and Pakistan. China and Pakistan, the drug trade, the narcotics trade, they are both very active. Gangs from Pakistan, gangs from China, very active in the drug trade. That's ruining the lives of hundreds of thousands of young Canadians. And that is a threat to Canada. And these people extort money, they kill each other, and when gangsters kill each other, of course, Jagmeet Singh says, oh, it's all the Indian government. As far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned, he is very firm on the security of India, and you have seen how many drug busts have taken place, how many drug seizures are taking place, and you are seeing this kind of, he has gone ahead with the Quad, he's gone ahead with the Foundation Defense Agreement with the U.S., and India has become a linchpin of Indo-Pacific security. That is upsetting Jagmeet Singh's friends in Pakistan and China, and the man is singing for them. And I think one should track and trace his funding, his family members, his friends, check and see their lifestyle, check and see where their income is coming from. I think a complete investigation into all these quote-unquote supporters of Justin Trudeau, who openly support violence and threats and intimidation against the world's largest democracy. I think it's pending. Justin Trudeau will not do it because he's neck deep with them. And the next government, the Conservative government, has got to be very clear about it. Otherwise, it will be held accountable someday by the people of Canada and, frankly, by the international community for this kind of negligence. Jagmeet Singh is being exposed for what he is. And finally, the Canadian media, the Canadian people are understanding it. And before they did, the Americans have started understanding it. And they are now called, they are openly, military websites in the US are calling Canada a den of the Chinese. It's also a den of narcotics. It's also a den of terror and extortion. And this is what Justin Trudeau has allowed Canada to become. You go to Canada, you'll find, the terrible locations where there's drug addiction, where there's a lot of other antisocial activities. And these are the places where terrorists feel safe, because ordinary people don't dare to go there. And there are locations where even the police don't dare to go. And that's exactly where hostile actors operate. And I would like to say, I don't believe a single Indian diplomat has gone anywhere near any of these places.
Right.
But this is the point, Devika. He's pointing the finger at an innocent country in order to shield the guilty, China and Pakistan. That is his open tactic, and the man is being exposed now for the first time. His lies, his untruth, his vicious nature is being exposed, and his attack on Prime Minister Modi is an attack on the man who has created an architecture of security within the Indo-Pacific in cooperation with the US, Australia, Japan, and other democracies.
Professor Nalapat, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with your perspective. We leave it there and we shift our focus. Day 2 of the SCO summit has begun. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has welcomed